This is Legacy Battle. Welcome back. I'm Michael Adams, your creator of Legacy Battle. My co-host tonight from the Gridiron Battle Zone, Brian King. We have a career interview for you today. We're joined by an NHL right winger who played 9 seasons with the Canucks, Flames of Atlanta and Calgary, Red Wings and Maple Leafs. Don Cherry, everybody knows Don Cherry, called him one of the best cornermen in the league. So you know he wasn't afraid to take a hit, make a hit, get in some of those pesky situations. He's now works for the Colorado Avalanche. So we want to welcome Brad Smith. Brad, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Yeah, like I said, we have a career interview for you today. Brian will get our first question going.
So, Brad, you were born up in Windsor, Ontario, and you played with the Windsor Spitfires and then the Sudbury Wolves before being drafted into the NHL. Could you tell us a little about those youth and junior hockey days?
Actually, let me correct you on your geography. Windsor's actually down there. We're at the bottom of the Great Lakes.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I was fortunate to play in my hometown. It was the first year where I was eligible to play junior hockey. Actually, I was going to go to school on a hockey scholarship to Michigan, but I decided to stay home and play for hometown Spitfires. I was one of the first guys to get that education package. If I didn't turn pro, I could go to any university I wanted to go to. So I was fortunate the way it worked out. I was traded to Sudbury, which was unfortunate. Not that I don't like Sudbury, I love Sudbury, but I went from a good team to not a very good team. And they wanted to trade me. They tried to trade for me back at the deadline, but it didn't work out. But I had a great career, fun career in both Windsor and both Sudbury.
So your junior career, you scored 271 points in 202 games, and you put up over 500 penalty minutes. That's power forward numbers there. How did your juniors' time help build your overall game moving forward?
It's a great question. It helped because, first of all, I was fortunate when I was a little younger, when I was like 16 years old. There was a lot of local pros in the area, and I got to play with them, and they really taught me the ropes. Just how they work out, how they prepare themselves in the summertime. We wouldn't skate all summer, but start August we'd get together and start working out, and that was a real big help for me. If not for those guys, I may not have made it to where I was or am. To go to the pros, it was a different game. The players were, bigger, faster, stronger. But the whole junior experience did, help me springboard into the National Hockey League. But it's a tough game. As you watched the game last night, I mean, in the playoffs, these guys are playing every other day, and it takes so much out of them mentally and physically. And I had a couple good playoff runs with Toronto, but all in all, the junior hockey was a good springboard for me to go to the National League for sure.
So I'm going to take you to December of 1979 here. You're playing with Vancouver against 2 Soviet clubs. One of those games, you face Vladimir Mishkin, who was considered one of the top goaltenders. You scored 2 goals against him, just 17 seconds apart, helping your team, win that game and everything. So let's see, what did it mean to you and the guys on your team get to play against the Soviet Union, but for yourself also beating a goalie like Michigan 2 times in 17 seconds?
Yeah, I'll never forget it. I remember the first goal. Me and Rick Vibe was a 2-on-1, and I wanted to give him the puck, but I just couldn't, and so I froze the pass. And he's slapping his stick on the ice like a beaver tail. He wants that puck so bad. And I froze the pass, and I shot it off the far post in the net. And then just seconds later, remember the puck went down in the corner. And I circled the corner and just came up and top of the circle. And I just took a shot, and it went over his shoulder. So, yeah, that was really exciting for sure, especially against that team. The funny thing was, I got back to the bench, and Harry Neal goes, "What are you gonna do if you score a third goal?" And I said, "Harry, the game's gonna stop. I'm gonna shake hands with everybody in the building, all the fans in the building." He goes, "You're not getting back on the ice." And then the unfortunate thing is the beginning of third period, Michigan fell like he got caught in behind his net, and I was in front of the net, and Stan Smeel gave me the puck. I had the whole open net, 4x6. I was like 5 feet in front of the net, maybe 10, maybe 8 feet. And the puck literally jumped over my stick. Or I would have had the hat trick. But it is what it is, and it was it's something I'll always remember for sure.
Brad, it was December 14th, 1979, Vancouver versus Colorado. Vancouver's trailing 3-2 when you scored your first NHL goal, tying the game up. Then minutes later, you were able to provide the helper for the game-winning goal. So what do you remember about that game, and how did it feel to finally break the ice and put the first one in the net?
Boy, I can't. I remember that vividly, but I can't. You believe you remember the score? Like, that's awesome. Like, I didn't know that. I thought we were up by a few goals, so that makes it even more special, I guess, to tie the game up and be involved in the game winner. But yeah, there was a loose puck there in front of the net. It was kind of bobbling up and down, or it just like spinning around, and I just went in there and basically forked my stick on the puck. Like I just went like this. And I hit it perfect and just went in the corner of the net. And yeah, it was to score your first NHL goal is pretty exciting. So yeah, I'll never forget that. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I got a tough question for you here because this is going to be an opinionated question for you. So you were in the Atlanta organization when the team left for Calgary. What went wrong for Atlanta then? And rumors are circulating now that they could get a third attempt at a franchise. Do you think Atlanta can support a hockey team?
I think they can. You got to go in and have a winning culture. I know when we were down there, when I was down there a little time, I was down there. I really loved it. The people were great. Where we lived, it was great. It was a great place to play. And we had a real good team, but we just the team always fell short. I wasn't with them that long. But a lot of good players, and the fans, they wanted a winner. I think anywhere you play, if you win, the fans come. Like in most places, unless you're, like Vancouver, Edmonton, Toronto. Like even Detroit had some rough years the last few years, not building the stadium up. But I think they can make it work. I really do. It's a great place. Nowadays, I think it'll draw the players. Like good players will go there, free agency and that kind of stuff. And one more shot at it. I know the people that are trying to. I don't know the people. I know of the people that are trying to put it together, and they're good people. They're hockey people, which is really important to have those kind of people involved. And they'll do. I think they can do a good job. I think they can make it work.
$1 billion buy-in. I'm sure the NHL wants to make it work. So all right, let's move on to 1987 here. Playoffs, round 1 against St. Louis. You scored what's called the magic goal. You got hit with a pass middle of the ice and was in on a breakaway, deked around the goaltender, put it in the net. Tell us about that goal and what its significance was for the Maple Leafs.
Well, it was the beginning of the game, and I think maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 minute mark. And I actually watched that the other day. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, the puck was shot on Reggett, Pittsburgh goalie, and great guy. And then someone hit him and knocked his mask off. So he was literally playing for a minute with no mask. And then Fedorko went around the net with a puck, and Reuter gave him a two-hander, which would have been at least a 4-minute minor in today's game. And the puck sprang to Wendell, And, I mean, I love Wendell. He's never put a pass on my stick in his life. Sometimes I needed a baseball glove to catch some of his passes, but he sprung me up the middle. He put it right on my tape. And I knew what I was going to do. And but he came out a little too soon. I still made the same move and beat him. It was thrilling. It stood out to be the game winner, and certainly one of the biggest goals in my career or in my life. And I think it stood as like one of the top 10 goals ever scored in Maple Leaf Gardens, if I'm not correct. Yeah, so it was it's something to remember, and yeah, it was thrilling. Trust me.
Awesome.
I saw the puck on that. I couldn't believe it. Put it that way. Okay. You saw that you took a shot and it zinged. You make your move. You got the whole empty net, and you just got to throw it in the back of the net. And I bear down. I make sure I threw it in the back of the net.
So, Brad, your career was split between the NHL and various minor leagues. What is life like on the road for a minor league player in the late 70s, early 80s? And was it anything like what we have seen in the film Slapshot?
Well, I'm sure maybe a little bit of it for sure. I mean, I played in Dallas my first year, and even Dallas has got pretty nice weather. So after practice, you're sitting by the pool having a beer or two, and but the game was different then. Like I was young, I'd be about 19 years old or 18 years old, and everybody was like 25 to 30 years old, and that was like in the NHL too. Everything flip-flopped when I left the game. The game got younger and the players got younger. So, I was there a single guy. Everybody had kids and married and that kind of stuff. But we flew everywhere. I mean, we weren't on that bus like Slapshot was. I mean, the only time we drove was to Fort Worth. We flew to Kansas City. We flew to Houston. We flew to Salt Lake City. We flew to Kansas. All these places we always flew. So it was like being in the National Hockey League. So I was... And it was good hockey. It was really good hockey. I mean, we beat Salt Lake City that year, the first year I was a pro in the finals. And, we had about 5 or 6 NHL guys on our team. And they also had about 8 or 9 NHL guys in their team. So it was good hockey. A little bit like Slapshot. Yeah, you could say that. But, it wasn't Slapshot. It was nothing against Slapshot and the people in Slapshot. This hockey. There was only 6 teams in the league. It was good hockey. Right. Like you could have formed what do you call it, an all-star team where say the best 20 players of those 6 teams, and you could have played the National Hockey League. I mean, I'm not saying you'd be good, but you'd be very respectful for sure. That's nice. How good hockey was. Yeah.
So, Brad, I've read that you were credited with sort of figuring out the Red Wings left wing lock while you were with the Colorado Avalanche there, and helping to devise a solution for it. So, is there any truth to that? And if so, could you explain maybe what you saw and how you had the team adjust for it?
Well, yeah. What Detroit played the lock where the right-hand defenseman would come in, they pinched on the wall, then the left-handed defenseman would take the right-hand defenseman a spot, and the left winger would come up and take the left-hand defenseman spot. It's kind of hard to explain unless I got a piece of paper here to show you guys. So what we did is we come out on their side, on their strong side, but what we did right away was reverse the puck right across the ice where there was nobody there, because they outnumbered you really bad along the boards when they try to lock you up in there. And we reversed the puck and came up the ice, and what we did is we dumped the puck in to the left winger's corner, which would be the left defenseman's corner, and it was sort of unfair for him to try to get the puck because wingers don't go back and get the puck and retrieve it and bring it back up the ice like defensemen do. So we kind of picked on them a little bit that way because they had smaller left wingers, and it turned out to be pretty beneficial for us.
Nice.
But Detroit adjusted from that. The following year they got bigger on the left hand side, and they were a great hockey team. I mean, that team that we beat that year, I still think was one of the best teams ever played in the NHL. Even though we beat them, I mean, I don't. What did they get? 140 points, or I don't know. It was just it's unbelievable. And I watched them play a lot of hockey because I did the pre-scouting, and boy, that team was a treat to watch. They were good. They had the Russians, and they had everybody. And we had a good goalie, Patrick Waugh, and he made timely saves. And we went in Detroit actually in that series and won the first 2 games right in Detroit, which really helped us out. And then I think they won game 3 in Denver. We won game 4. Can't remember what 5 or 6 games. I think it went 6 games. I think we won the 6th game in Denver.
Nice.
But yeah, that is true. Yes.
That's definitely something to hang your hat on.
Right.
You're currently the amateur scouting advisor and special assistant for the Colorado Avalanche. Can you tell us about the process for scouting players, and where do you think some of the best talent is being found currently?
Well, I think right now the best talent is pretty well evenly spread all over the world. Canada still produces the most of the players, but the Americans have really come a long way. They've come a long way in Czechoslovakia. Well, they've always been good in the Czechoslovakia, Sweden, Finland, and the Russians. But there's no secrets anymore. Everybody knows what player is and who they are and that kind of stuff. It's not like you can draft somebody that's going to be a superstar and nobody else knows who they are. But we do extensive work on these players. There's a combine coming up in Buffalo where our staff will interview like 60 players in 4 or 5 days, and just get to know the guys. It's not a grilling period. Like no one's grilling anybody. Just get to know the player, the family, what they like. What they don't like. And that kind of stuff. But the draft is very important because the draft does build the foundation of your team. And if you look at our team, the foundation is guys like Rantanen, McCarr, McKinnon, some pretty good hockey players. And when you get players like that, it's not easily to build around them, but you can build around players like that. So, but there's a lot of work. The guys work hard. The draft is coming up in Vegas. I know the guys are really excited because they're having it in that special theater. So we're all looking forward to it.
Excellent. Thank you, Brad, so much for coming on and joining us today. We appreciate your time.
No, thank you. And I really apologize. During the course of the season, like things change every 5 minutes, and I could be going here, I could be going there, and that kind of stuff. And I really enjoyed these 2 guys. It was great to be on with these 2 guys, and heck, I'd do it again anytime. If you need me, just give me a call. But thank you so much.
Appreciate that. I remind everybody, hit that like, subscribe, notification button. If you haven't done that already, it's always important to every channel. Hit those buttons. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see y'all next time. Have a great night.